Yeah, this is the Marwell guitar that I've been working on this week, and I did an introductory video on this. And in dealing with this damage issue, you can't see it in here, but there is a ding on the top, a small one, but still it got dinged. I ran into an issue I thought I'd make a video about. Now, before I start talking about this, let me make it very clear that I'm not really blaming this company or this eBayer. I still like the guitar. I think it's good value. I'm still giving the guitar a good review, but there's a kind of an annoying eBay issue that I wanted to speak to you about. Now, I got this guitar from a European seller, a German seller, who shipped it through DHL, which is fairly common for European and intercontinental types of shipments. It's a big industry. I did not submit a damage request. I sent the seller a message first, as I tend to do. Somebody who sells on eBay, it's always nice when somebody contacts you first rather than just submitting a request. A complaint, which of course goes against your, selling rating and all that. So I sent them a message, didn't hear back, sent them a second message, finally heard back from them. And they asked me to send pictures of the damage. Actually, I sent a picture with the damage the first time, I always do. A couple of pictures of this ding on the top. Then they sent back a message to me saying that they needed more pictures of the box and all that sort of stuff, which is a bit annoying. I think 2 or 3 pictures should be enough, personally, for them to come back with you and tell you to take pictures of the box and all that. You know what's happening at this point. They're going to file a claim and make you wait for that claim to be determined before they deal with you as a buyer, which I find kind of annoying. In all my years of buying and selling on eBay, both in the US and the UK, I've never made a buyer wait while I settle a shipping claim. I just don't do that. It doesn't seem fair to me. Also, whenever I've tried to file a shipping claim, it always takes longer than any buyer is willing to wait. A buyer is either going to return a guitar, they want some kind of partial refund, to make them wait weeks for a shipping claim to be determined. It's just out of the question, really. So, of course, the seller explained to me that this is what DHL wanted, that they would have to file a claim. DHL would then may want to look at the guitar themselves or demand that I send it to them. A whole rigmarole. And all I wanted was a slight discount on the guitar for this ding that it has right here. I was prepared to keep it, but the seller insisted on going through this rigmarole with the shipper, which in this case is DHL. I sent all the extra pictures. I sent pictures of the box. He didn't hear back from the seller for a couple of days, and then they contacted me to say, number one, that the pictures weren't enough, that I would have to download, or they would have to download, it wasn't clear, an application from the DHL website. I don't know why you would make your buyer do that. And the second thing is the time had now elapsed, and therefore there was no way to make a claim. And so I wrote back to the seller and I said, look, I like the guitar. I'll keep the guitar. All I was hoping for is a slight deduction on the cost to account for the damage, or if I buy another one of your guitars to try out and review on my channel, how about you give me a slight discount on a future order? They did agree to that, if I ordered directly from their website and not through eBay, which is again a little bit annoying. And then I proceeded to tell them, look, I've been buying and selling guitars for a long time. If I sell a guitar to someone and it arrives damaged, dinged, or whatever, you take care of the customer first. You take care of your buyer first. And then if you can, you try and get some settlement with your shipping client on your own. You don't put your buyer through that procedure. You can see DHL only had a short window to file a claim, and I was never told in any of the messages that you've got until this date or this is what you have to do. I was told, oh, that's not enough pictures, I need more. I sent more. I was told, oh, the pictures aren't enough. You have to submit a application for a claim, but it's too late. The window's closed. That is not good. So I will get another guitar because I like this guitar company, and I will take them up on their future offer if I can of a discount. However, I just wanted to talk about this issue. If you're a seller on eBay, there's just no way you're going to, unless you've done it. Correct me if you've done it, but with guitars, I found that you have to basically take care of your buyer and not put them through a shipping claim. You then, once you've given your buyer a discount or you've had the guitar returned, then you can try and get some compensation from the shipper. That seems like the only moral way to do this. However, I found in the past that in having a guitar returned, you often void the claim. So shippers make it really hard to submit a damage claim and get any sort of compensatory payment for damages, and they do this on purpose. I think I had a case a few years ago. I can't remember if it was UPS. I think probably was, or if it was USPS. But I had a situation a few years ago where they damaged a guitar. I didn't want to make the buyer wait for me to go this claim, which might take weeks. That didn't seem fair to me. So I had them return the guitar, and then I tried to process a claim with the shipper, but just the act of having the guitar returned to me voided the claim, which doesn't make any sense at all. So what I stopped doing is dealing with shipping claims at all. I see eBay as sort of a risk business, and I ship out guitars. And if they get damaged, I immediately have them returned to me, and I try to fix them and then resell them. Trying to work with any sort of damage claim situation, or even pay for extensive insurance, and thus raise the cost and lower the margins of your buying and selling, just seemed pointless to me. So this issue is a source of annoyance to me because I think the seller should have said, "Oh, your guitar's dinged, but you're willing to keep it, and all you want is, maybe a 10, 20 pound, partial refund. Here you go. This is the cost of doing business." The other thing is, when they asked me for pictures of the box and everything, I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to determine if it was inadequately packed, therefore it's the seller's fault, or if it was adequately packed and still damaged, therefore it's the shipper's fault. When I looked at the materials, I found that the guitar, in fact, was very well packed better than most guitars. This seems to be a competent company, sort of a poor man's Thomann maybe, coming from Germany. The guitar was double boxed with bracing in the box. However, the guitar was placed in the box with the face right next to the side of the box, and it was the back side that had all the bracing. So instead of putting the guitar in the middle of the box and having packing on both sides, it had it on this side. The face was facing the box. It took a shot right here and dented the guitar. I suspect the shipper would have looked at that. The shipping company would have looked at that and said, no, it's not our fault because you packed it that way, and it should have been adequate packing for that particular item. And maybe that's why this particular seller told me that, it's too late for the claim. I don't know. But, this is the kind of thing you deal with shipping claims. If you ship your guitar in a single box with hardly any bracing and you file a claim, they're going to say it wasn't adequately packed. If you ship it with adequate packing, but you situate the guitar in a way that the packing doesn't really help brace the guitar against any kind of knocks from the outside, the shipper can say, well, you still haven't adequately packed it, even though you used plenty of materials, you didn't use them to good effect. So there's always seems to be a loophole, and there may be cases where some of you who buy and sell have done well with shipping claims and have got adequate compensation. But it's a fraught business, and it's really tough to put your eBay buyers through that particular situation when it can take, so much wrangling and possibly, 2 or 3 weeks with lots of forms and photographs going back and forth, and possibly the shipper having the item shipped back to them for inspection. No buyer wants to go through that. And had I been a normal buyer and gone through this particular situation, as soon as that the seller said to me, you need to do this, this, and this. Oh, that's not enough. You need to do this. I would have just forced a return on them and filed a return through eBay, shown the pictures of the damage, and it would have come back to them if I were a normal buyer. Because I am a guitar tech kind of person that has a YouTube channel, I told them I was willing to keep the guitar. The damage is very, very slight. I like the guitar, and I wanted to save them a return to Europe, to Germany from the UK, just because I have empathy for them, being in the same business as them. It backfired on me. My empathy didn't pay off. Basically, I was told to submit the adequate requirements for a claim, which then timed out before I was told what I needed to do. So I made my feelings clear to the business in question and said, look, I buy and sell guitars. If somebody gets a damaged guitar, it's not a good idea to make them go through all the hassles of submitting a claim from their vantage point. If it's going to take a certain amount of time and is going to be problematic for that person. It's not their fault that the guitar arrived damaged, right? They're just the end buyer. It's not their fault. They shouldn't have to pay with sending ludicrous amounts of pictures and doing all of this paperwork, possibly even submitting the guitar for inspection when they're just the person that bought the guitar. That's your responsibility. You're the one that had a contract with the shipper. You're the one that shipped the guitar. You're the one that packed the guitar. You're the one that's responsible for the guitar arriving in good condition, along with your shipping client, of course. It is not the buyer's responsibility to have to jump through hoops just for a transaction to be made good. Now, all of this could have been avoided had I just returned the guitar through the normal complaint procedure through eBay. So if you're not a person who works on guitars, if you're just buying a guitar to play and it arrives with any sort of problem, you can submit a request for a partial refund. But if you get any sort of if you get mucked around in any way, shape, or form, by all means, then submit your return request. The seller has no recourse. They think they do, they don't. If it is their fault, if they give you an item not as described or is damaged upon arrival, there is no way they can fight that return. So just know that if it's your fault, if it's the buyer's fault, then maybe they'll have some recourse, particularly if they're a charity seller or something like that, where eBay is more favorable to the seller. But if you're the buyer, know that if it's not your responsibility, it's not your fault, you receive something that is not as advertised for any reason whatsoever, it's always nice to send a courtesy message first and try and work it out with the person. But if they give you any guff whatsoever, you have every right to file a complaint. And even though people state, I was looking through listings this morning, so many people say no returns, no returns, no returns. There's no such thing on eBay. It doesn't exist. If you receive something that's not as listed, that's not in the condition that it was listed, it doesn't matter what the seller puts on his listing or how many times he says no returns, you are entitled to a return. Full stop. There is no way around that. Every seller should know that. I understand why they put no returns on their listings, because they want to discourage people from returning something if they have a chance to work it out. So they make it, they're not going to advertise that they take returns in a lot of cases, because they don't want you joyriding their instrument and then getting bored with it and sending back. But if there's any problem with the instrument, it goes back. So this is a learning situation for me. It's one that I'm familiar with, but it's the first time I've dealt with it through eBay UK, and particularly through DHL. I will keep that in mind for future orders. And next time if I receive a guitar that comes through DHL from a European seller and it arrives damaged, rather than trying to, work it out with the seller, if I'm not happy, I'll just submit a return request and get another one, get a replacement. But meanwhile, I do like this guitar, and I'm going to do another video on it when the setup is complete. I just have to knock off some of the fret ends here, but it's a nice playing guitar. It's a nice looking guitar, and it's one of the better cheap sub £100 tele copies that I've come across. So I'll live with a little ding for now, and use it as a research project of sorts. But I like to use this channel to report all of the comings and goings of buying and selling guitars, reviewing guitars, trying out new guitars. So I felt duty bound to tell you about this situation, and perhaps if you've been through something similar, you might put it in the comments below. What I would be interested to hear is, if you're a buyer, what are your thoughts on this particular situation where you have something damaged and the seller wants to put you through the rigmarole of dealing with the shipping company before they take care of make the situation good. Even more perhaps, if you're a seller, have you had any luck whatsoever dealing with damage claims? How do you go about it? Do you make good to the seller and then, to the buyer and then submit the claim? Are you able to do that? Do you find there's any difference between shipping companies on how well this goes? Or are you like me and just don't bother with it? If you send stuff and it gets damaged, you just get it back and deal with it. Let me know. I'd be interested to hear your experiences and what you think of this particular situation. Anyway, folks, I hope you're doing well. Take care. I'll see you on the next video.